Welcome back to the Founder TV. I am your girl Founder. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about what to do before you say I do the video. I'm going to try to make it very short. I wrote everything down in case you see me looking at my job. Some persons, the only thing they know about themselves is their names and the school they study, their family. No, that is not all about you. There are some things embedded in you. There's a way you think that is not really discovered. There's a way you act. You know, most people came to this world and they live the life of people. They act the way other people act. Who are you? That's the question you should ask yourself. Find out who you are, understand who you are. Know how you behave. Know how you react when any situation arises. How do you react? But some persons end up living with other people's character. They just want to do what others do without even feeling happy about it. Are you getting? You need to get to know how you understand things. You need to get to know how you react to situations. You need to get to know how you can make yourself happy. We all have different voices in our head. Like some persons will say, in our mind. You guys know, you see sometimes people will like, my instinct. How did you know that this thing work out? I just felt it. My instinct. Some person will say, my mind. Some person will say, I felt like doing that. Some person will say, the Holy Spirit. So we have a lot of voice in our head speaking. And among those voices, your own voice is also there. So inwardly, do you know how you speak? Do you know how you take decisions inwardly? So those are things you should know about yourself. Most times what we say out is not, what we speak out is not really what we are speaking in our mind. I don't know if you're following me. So this particular thing I'm talking about now will help you to take decisions in your homes, to help you to be able to know the right thing to do. Okay, moving forward. Discover your purpose. Discover your purpose and pursuit before you go into marriage. I'm going to say this again. Discover your purpose and pursuit before you go into marriage. You do not totally know who you are, and then you get into marriage, you end up battling between knowing who you are and knowing who your spouse is. Are you following me? This might be very deep, but the Holy Spirit will help you to understand. In conclusion, what I'm trying to say in a nutshell is, if you don't understand who you really are, how you think, how you speak, both inwardly and outwardly, how you react to situations, what really makes you happy. If you don't understand those things, if you don't understand your purpose on earth and your pursuit, what you desire to become, how you see yourself tomorrow, and then you get into marriage at that state, what will happen is that you'll be caught in between, that kind of, at the point that you're caught in between knowing who you are, trying to discover who you are, and then you're trying to discover who your spouse is. Yes, your spouse is. When you're caught in between that, it leads to depression. Yes. Because if you don't know yourself, how will you now know who another person is? Did you follow me to this point? Good. So, you see, most marriages fails because people refuse to take responsibility. When I say responsibility, taking responsibility means that you have to first of all know who you are. Then you get to know who the person you're married to is. Then that is when you will be able to enjoy marriage. I don't know if you've heard the saying that the first year of marriage is always full of a conflict, this and that. This is why it's always like that. This is the cause of it. Are you following me? The inability of one partner to be able to do what? Understand his or herself. And then the inability of the partner to be able to do what? Take responsibility to get to know who they got married to. Are you getting me? Because even if you said, I've stayed with this person for years, I know the person, nothing is happening, nothing is going to happen, we know ourselves. After marriage, that is when you really know that the person did not show you all the parts of his or her character. So you have to be sincere to yourself, get to know yourself. Then when you get into the marriage, you now know that what you're going to focus on is knowing who you got married to. But the situation whereby you did not know who you are, then you got married. After marriage, you'll be caught in between. You'll be battling with who am I? Why am I reacting like this? Am I doing the right thing? Is it how I'm supposed to be? But assuming you already knew who you are before you got into it, you will know that this is how I behave. This is how I react to things. I didn't do anything bad. No, I didn't do anything bad. This is me. Are you getting it? And then when you understand that, you'll be able to know how to manage your emotions, especially for the women. So if you have already know who you are before you get into marriage, what you're going to be focusing on is finding out who the other person is. I don't even understand me. Finding out who the other person, your spouse is, be it your wife or your husband. Are you getting it? So it will be much easier. But assuming you got into marriage without knowing who you are, after you got into the marriage, some persons are not even aware that most of the conflict they're having is because they have not discovered their personality. So they end up being at a state of confusion, trying to find out who they are, trying to find out who their spouse is. So the whole thing will just be confusing. Are you getting it? It will just be confusing. At the end of the day, they will get into depression, they'll be depressed. And if the other party is not matured enough to be able to manage this other party, it will lead to two things: either divorce or suicide. Yes, either divorce or suicide. For example, in a kind of especially African countries where divorce is not generally accepted, they expect people to do what? Handle their marriages. So in the situation whereby the other party, somebody is married to somebody that is not ready to accept responsibility, work on himself, know who they are, and then, or somebody that is not ready to understand who they are. Are you getting it? For example, your husband is not ready to know who you are. Are you getting it? That is why most marriages break, or your wife is not ready to know who you are. So marriage is generally about accepting responsibility. So before you get into it, let it be that you have started the work already. Are you getting it? Let it be that you've started the work already. You already get to know yourself fully. Now, entering inside the marriage now, you know that you're going to be focusing on doing what? Knowing your spouse. Then that is where marriage should be so sweet. I don't know if you followed me to this point. Don't worry, your marriage should be the best. And if you're already in marriage and before you heard this message or before you understand what it means to know who you are first, it's not too late. You can still take your time. Learn, understand who you are. Then you take your time, understand who your spouse is so that your marriage can be better. In our next video, I'm going to be telling you how to discover who you are. I will give you just some few points on how to discover who you really are. If you have watched me up to this point, I know you love us. Make sure you subscribe, share our videos, like, and comment. Let's interact in the comment section. If there's something I did not say properly, or if there's anything you want to contribute to this message that will help others, please let's go down to the comment section. See you in our next video. God bless you. Love you.